Call the September 10th, 2024 meeting of the Nelson County Board of Supervisors to order. We'll start with a moment of silence. Dr. Ligon, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A little bit of a change to the agenda. Before we start public comments, Linda Staten is going to introduce some new employees that we have at the county.
Good afternoon, board members. We do have two new department heads that have been hired and are now in place. First, I'd like to very excitedly introduce to you Mr. Jeffrey Brantley, to my left here. He's joining the county staff as Director of Public Works effective August 31st of this year. He comes to us from Nelson County Service Authority, having served there for the past 27 years. Mr. Brantley's experience there includes all aspects of supplying water and sewer services to both residential and commercial Nelson County Service Authority and County Piney River customers. He has extensive experience in supervising staff and managing field operations, including working with engineering firms and regulatory agencies such as the Virginia Department of Health and the Department of Environmental Quality. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jeffrey Brantley as Director of Public Works. Secondly, we have Ms. Grace Moyer. Grace is our new Director of Finance and Human Resources. We will be co-directing as so to speak, until my retirement in January. We are very pleased to reintroduce Ms. Grace Moyer to the Nelson County staff in this capacity. Ms. Moyer holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Accounting and Information Systems from Virginia Tech. Upon graduation in 2014, she was employed by Nelson County as a Finance Technician 2 for 5 years in our finance department here, then served as Administrative Assistant Deputy Clerk for 2.5 years for Nelson County. She was then hired as an associate with Brown Edwards Certified Public Accountants, where she worked for a year before being hired by the County of Albemarle as an Accountant AP Specialist. Ms. Moyer's most recent position with Albemarle was as a Senior Accountant during the nearly 2 years she was employed there. She currently is in the process of completing requirements and testing for her CPA certification. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Grace Moyer back to the Nelson County Finance team as Director of Finance and Human Resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Mr. Brantley, before you leave, I just wanted to thank you again for the years of service at the Service Authority, of excellent service, I might say. And so it's great to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Grace, welcome back to you. Good to see you again. Okay, we're going to start public comments. I'm going to review the procedures for public comments. I'll call speakers up in order that they are on the sign-up sheet, and at the end, if you're not on the sheet, you'll have your chance to speak as well. When your name is called, come up to the podium. If you speak into the microphone, we will do our best to do the same throughout the meeting. Clearly state your name and address for the record. If you're speaking on behalf of the group, make sure you identify the group you're representing, because then you get 5 minutes instead of just 3 when you are representing yourself. You'll be timed for 3 to 5 minutes. Dr. Ligon will be doing the timing and let you know when you have 30 seconds left if you get that far. Okay. We'll open public comments. Beth Phelps is the first speaker.
Good afternoon. How is everybody? Beth
Nelson County Victim Witness, 84 Courthouse Square, Livingston, Virginia. Is that good? Can y'all hear me? So it's that time of year again. Next month is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so programs like mine across the state will be hosting annual events recognizing victims of domestic violence survivors. So our event will be October 3rd at 4 o'clock, and it's going to be held here at the Nelson County General District Courtroom. And I would like to invite you all to come and join us. We'll have various speakers speaking about domestic violence and the effects that it has here in our community. And then the other event I wanted to share is with the Shelter for Help and Emergency, and they are going to have their annual candlelight vigil, which is going to be October 7th at 7 o'clock, and that's going to be on the downtown mall. I think you guys have one of the flyers for each. But in closing, I wanted to take a moment to thank this county for supporting this program. This program has been in this county for 28 years and has helped numerous victims of crime. Just this past year, we have had right at 200 victims, and out of that number, 123 of those were victims of domestic violence, stalking, sexual assault. And so that's the work that we do. So thank you for supporting this program. So hope to see you guys at our event.
Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you.
Stephen Bain.
Stephen Bain, 620 Far Knob Climb, Nelliesford, Virginia, 22958. Board of Supervisors. This is regarding investment decisions with respect to the Department of Social Services. Residents know now that return on investment was not a consideration for solution options. We requested the comprehensive business case for DSS and are now performing the requisite due diligence. From the review of that requested information, we know and are concerned that it was not a comprehensive business case, did not present all potential solutions, did not provide any evaluated ROI. No solution options for repurposing any existing facilities and land. Instead, it focused exclusively on new land and new building at a cost of $10 million. Unfortunately, just now, we are learning of critical decisions made during the August and July meetings of the Board of Supervisors, unbeknownst to citizens, entirely unbeknownst to citizens. We are requesting postponement of further decisions with respect to DSS to allow concerned residents the opportunity to confirm the DSS solution with the greatest ROI for Nelson County and its citizens, allowing us the time to perform or to complete our due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Gubish.
Robert Gubish, 334 Rainbow Ridge Road, Favo. I had the pleasure of speaking with Congressman Good on, I think it was August 19th. And in that conversation, which was at a public forum, I said to him, over the past 50 years or so of watching everybody in DC, our elected officials, and especially in light of COVID, that big story fed to us. And as I watched the Constitution being trashed, I said to Congressman Good It is my opinion that 80% of the elected officials in Washington, D.C. are traitors and are actually enemies of we the people, which is a pretty heavy statement. And he responded to me that he thought maybe my figure was a little low. He completely agreed with me, and he went on to say, and I'll quote him, that relative to the Constitution, you don't surrender the Constitution in times of crisis. We have the Constitution because of times of crisis. So there's our congressman, my congressman, who I hold in high regard. And I share this with you so we will stop thinking that we're going to get any real leadership out of DC. When it comes to something like COVID, it's up to us locally to stand up and do what's right relative to law and order. The Constitution is what America is based on. So I say this over and over so the next time it comes up, we might do much better than we did last time. And I've already heard a story that Fauci's on the media talking about another virus, maybe from a mosquito. And of course, there are thousands of pages and thousands of doctors who have all blown the entire virus story out of the water. For those of us who read and pay attention, so may we never be afraid of a virus again. May we never wear a mask thinking that's going to help us. And may we never torture our children if the subject comes up again. And again, I thank you all for doing what you can for the county. We appreciate you being there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all we have that have signed up in advance. Would anybody else like to speak during public comments? Okay, I will close public comments and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Now, the consent agenda includes the minutes from the April 9th meeting. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda, or do we have a motion to approve it?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Lady?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Next on the agenda is a proclamation which Dr. Ligon will introduce and give.
I was September 11th. Well, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Proclamation P 2024-04, Nelson County Board of Supervisors, September 11th, 2001, a day to remember. Whereas the unprovoked attacks of September 11th, 2001 upon America by foreign terrorists thrust the United States and other countries into a war it never envisioned militarily or diplomatically. And whereas the challenges facing all the people of the world as they relate to the war on terrorism will not end until those responsible are brought to justice. And whereas America is fully committed to ensuring our freedoms remain unfettered and sovereign for all generations now and forever. And whereas world opinion needs to remain focused upon the eradications of these inhumane acts perpetrated around the globe. And whereas one way to accomplish this is to never forget that those innocent victims did not die in vain. And whereas America can fight back by reminding the world that the deaths of these people will always be remembered and that they will be forever loved. Whereas a noble and appropriate way to accomplish this is through the annual celebration of their living. And whereas the commemoration should be conducted each September throughout the land to include the promotion of global peace and goodwill, the demonstration of Americans' resolve and perseverance to win the war on terrorism, the advancement of responsible citizenship, the encouragement of patriotism and the love of country, and the poignant remembrance of those innocent victims who died September 11th as heroes one and all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Nelson County Board of Supervisors issue this proclamation to memorialize the men, women, and children who lost their lives. Be it further resolved that this proclamation be publicized for all to see and know that the citizens of Nelson County remember with eternal respect those whose lives were suddenly, without cause, and pointlessly taken from them on September 11th, 2001. May they forever rest in peace and abide in our memories.
Mr. Chairman, I second her motion.
Okay. Let's vote by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
One point of, I wanted to tell this board as well as the audience, we will be having a Patriots Day 9/11 commemoration. It will be on this Sunday, September 15th at 3 p.m. at the American Legion Post in Shipman. So if you all have a chance to come, we've been invited. Hope you all can join us there. And please pass it along so we can memorialize. So thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to presentations. First, we have Mr. Brown giving his monthly VDOT report.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I don't have a whole lot to report. We did attend a very pleasant event today at Tide River Elementary School. They had First Responder Friends Day, and VDOT was invited to attend that. And we had some equipment down there as well as some handout stuff for the kids. And I left from there a little while ago, and that was very enjoyable, and the kids seemed to enjoy that. As far as work, we are replacing a pipe on 151 just at the south approach to Brents Mountain. There's a pipe that Mr. Paul had brought to our attention, and that was causing an issue. We are replacing that. They worked on it yesterday, and they should get to doing it under traffic. That should be completed today. Also, another planned pipe replacement is we have a pipe down here on 29 Business Front Street beside the chicken coop and the county building. That has to be replaced. We're working to get our environmental permits and get all the utilities cleared to where we can perform that work. And that work will involve open cutting around 29 Business. And we will do that first. But we have a project, obtained drainage easement that goes on between the two properties. So we will be going down there probably about another, I think it's about 100 foot of pipe we've got to put in to go across that lot. So if you see us working that far off of the road, it is a project obtained easement, and we are required to repair those too. Looking at meetings, I think we have our 151 speed study meeting scheduled for Monday. Looking forward to that. And in light of the recent crashes on 29, we are having a meeting Monday between 2 and 3 with all our with the Sheriff's Office, Nelson County Sheriff's Department, Virginia State Police, as well as county, on looking at these recent crashes that resulted in fatalities to see what measures or actions we can take that may prevent them in the future. So got a lot going on, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can to keep that from reoccurring. So that's about all the report I have. We have completed our mowing, our 4-lane primary mowing, and we will probably do a total cut on our 4-lane after November 1st. We have a pollinator restriction as well as some other environmental restrictions. We can do a total cut after November 1. So you'll see where the entire roadway is mowed, the entire median, banks and all, after November 1. So looking forward to doing that and getting it looking good for the winter season. Other than that, we are in our, believe it or not, we've been working on snow removal, planning, signing up our hired equipment, getting our equipment ready, and we still have our 2 ASD contractors in Nelson County, but we also have other vendors that we sign up here too. So we want to be prepared and when that time comes.
Quick question. So as it relates to snow removal, what is the typical, so it goes to bidding locally for contractors? How does that work?
Well, our ASD contracts, they are individual invitation for bids. They are competitive. As far as what we call the rental equipment, or where we ask people to sign up equipment for an hourly rate, we set the hourly rate, and if they want to push, if they want to sign up and be one of our hourly contractors, if we have the need, we'll sign up as many people as we need. We do not have a waiting list in Nelson County for that. We usually the list is, we try to fill all of our spots, we have a snow plan, snow pushing band, a snow spreading brand, and we try to have a resource at every designated spot in our plan. And until we fill all those spots, we sign up people.
I just, the only reason why I asked is I know we had very isolated incidents in terms of snow incidents. And I think we had one, was it this year? Was it this year, or maybe end of last year, where we had snow and the plows had to go out pretty hard and heavy, and I think it was Route 6 was pretty icy. It didn't get hit till later that day, that evening. So just,
Could be,
yeah.
We didn't have a really one snow event last year.
Was
I
it
mean, most places, we had multiple up here in Mountain.
multiple up there? Yeah.
Had multiple.
It was the year
Mountain.
before that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was going to mention. Route 6 needs
Okay.
special attention.
All right.
Because that sucker can get a lot of traffic really quick, and one accident, that thing can go for miles.
Well, that and the same is true on Route 29, and we're really,
Yeah.
but we'll make sure that we're gonna cover our primary first. Whatever resources we have, we will fill our holes on primary, because that is our number, that is priority. And then secondaries are, they're second priority, so.
Yeah.
But usually we haven't had a problem in doing that, and I don't know what the situation was that you're talking about. It sounds like it was
I'll talk to you.
a breakdown in something.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll talk. Good luck,
Okay.
District.
Anything else?
I want to thank you for your correspondence with my constituents related to rural rustic, as well as how you can onboard. A lot of them are appreciative of your response, so I just wanted to say that publicly. Beyond that, I don't have any other things at this time, but if I do, I'll shoot you an email. So.
Thank you.
Oh, don't forget your guy.
Well, a path has been made on how to get that ball rolling, so
Cool.
that's all I gotta say.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else you have to?
Well,
speak to?
it's just a continuing concern about dropping speed limit in Gladstone.
Yeah.
And a path has been laid out, they just gotta do it.
Okay. Any analysis on the 250 scenic overlook turnout on Afton Mountain that I spoke of last month?
You mean,
On Route 250 on Afton Mountain, the Rockfish Overlook there has to do with paving and some.
yes, we're going to patch that paving, patch it where it's has no potholes in it.
Yeah.
And there's a good possibility, I don't know if we'll get it done by fall, but we're gonna look at real hard at trying to find some dollars to get the whole thing, get the entire overlook parking area that is on VDOT right away paved.
Yeah, because that could be a problem if there's a snow event too, for sure.
Yeah.
So if you might take a closer look at it before we go.
I guess the biggest, I said, Mr. Harvey, we worked on that a little bit when y'all were doing, when the county and the volunteers were doing the rock work up there back 5 or 6, 7 years ago, trying to get it in a little better shape for us. Really need to do something with the entrance up there. Those entrances are They're just big open areas that doesn't control access. When I do this paving, I want to close those entrances up to get them more organized, ingress and egress out of the overlook to where, it cannot be multiple people blocking sight. This is trying to pull out more north or south, and that's what's happening now. So, yes, we will do something up there, and I think we can. I think with the county safety money, VDOT county safety money that we get in Nelson County, I think we can do it with that.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, and look forward to the 151 speed study meeting
Yes.
for doing that. So thank you so much.
All right.
Next, we have Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, the 2024 legislative update. David Blunt.
Jerry.
Nope.
It's Jerry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jerry, sorry. I was going to keep you here a while longer. Okay, so this is our Parks and Recreation departmental report. Sorry.
Wasn't sure if you were skipping and coming back or whatever. So yeah. Yes, thank you for having me out today, and I appreciate Candy giving all the department heads an opportunity to come out each month and give an updated report about our departments. I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit some of the different things we have going on, and then as we see here, some of the upcoming things and little projects we've done here recently. But just a really quick overview of some of our programming activities that we have going on. So as always, we host the gymnastics group, Zumba, Taekwondo every week. Our yoga classes are meeting on every Sunday. We just recently added a Thursday class to that, a Thursday morning class. Those numbers are turning out to be very good. And as far as our youth sports go, right now we're getting our fall youth sports leagues up and going. And soccer started just the week before Labor Day, and our flag football league is getting started. Actually, tomorrow is the first games. I went back and did a little comparison of our youth sports growth that we've had over the last few years, and went back to 2021. Yes, we know that 2021 kids were just starting to come back out to play youth sports after the COVID pandemic, but our numbers have shown great growth, and we had our spring soccer this past year. We had 239 kids. Our fall soccer, we have 225 right now. Those numbers are up from 93 and 128 from 2021. Our basketball numbers are right around the same in the 120s, and our cheerleading has grown substantially up to close to 40 kids. We recently, in the last couple of years, implemented a flag football league for the youth, and right now in this fall league, we have 44 kids, whereas our first season we only had 34. This past spring, we had 59 kids playing flag football. So it's good to see the ball back in those kids' hands and them getting active. Just a little comparison. During the 2023-24 school year, we had 435 individual children participate in our youth sports. And out of comparison for that, Nelson County Public Schools, between the ages or grades of kindergarten through 8th grade, which entails the age group that all of our youth sports covers, they have 950 to 1,000 students. That's nearly 1 in every 2 kids in Nelson County Public Schools that are participating in our athletics, or youth athletics. Granted, some of these kids are homeschooled or do attend North Branch, but yeah, it's just a great number to see that almost 1 in every 2 kids are participating. So that's what we'd like to see. Nationally, youth sports numbers are dropping, so we'd like to see a good, steady, or increasing number here in Nelson, keeping above the average of the national stats on youth athletics. This summer, we did bring back our adult softball leagues. This summer we had 9 teams, and this fall we have 10 teams. We had 3 new teams come in this fall. We had 2 teams drop out after the summer, and kind of doing the math on that, about 15 players per team. We're looking at approximately 180 players, adults, have participated in our adult softball league just over the course of the summer and this fall. So those are great numbers, getting people back out. I'll give it to our recreation specialist, Jacob Floyd. He's done a tremendous job on the adult softball league. That's one of the first things he came in and said he wanted to get going, since there's been a void in that in the last couple of years, and he's done a tremendous job with that. One of our biggest weekly programs is our Sunday pickleball group that's being held over at Rockfish Valley Community Center, and then during the winter we do move over to the high school for that. Back in August, we went out to Rockfish and helped them out, and we painted new lines there on the basketball courts. In the past, the pickleball court lines were always just tape. We were continuously having to retape those and fix that. They would come out on Sunday mornings to play, and the tape had been pulled up by basketball players. They allowed us to put permanent paint down. One thing that I have been in discussion with RVCC is the development and construction of 2 permanent pickleball courts out there. That is a project that they are working on right now. Hopefully, it's possible that that's going to come in 2025, the construction of those 2 new courts. And yes, RVCC is a private facility, but they are giving us the opportunity to hold our programs and continue the growth of the pickleball community, which is the fastest growing sport in America right now. And at that time, when the 2 new courts are constructed, they will be permanent pickleball courts solely for pickleball. They will be resurfacing the basketball court where our old courts or the current courts are being played at, and the resurfacing, they will have permanent basketball and pickleball lines painted on that for overflow courts, giving them a total of 5 courts when those extra 3 are reserved. So that's something exciting that is going on in Nelson County, and I'm glad to be a part of helping them out in any guidance on that. And I fully support the construction of those new courts. In addition to that one, Fleetwood this past year built a pickleball court out there. Well, they resurfaced their blacktop out there. So yeah, that the pickleball community is it's growing, and I went out and played with them one day, and I think I got beat by some women who are twice my age almost. So they are hardcore about it, and it's glad to see the active community of all ages going on in Nelson County. One of the big things that we are working on right now, a new program, we are partnering with a new nonprofit. They're based out of Waynesboro. It's a program called Blue Ridge Packs and Treks. And what this is in the bottom picture down here, these are track chairs. We had a Miss Paige, I'm drawing a blank right now, sorry. Paige French, and she's out of Waynesboro. She came to myself and Dwayne Jones, the Parks and Rec director in Waynesboro, about working with us to start this program to allow these track chairs on trails within our communities. Her big focus for Nelson is the tunnel trail, and also that she would like to see that expanded to different trails over the course of time, and then also within Waynesboro, several of their trails. One of the things that Paige addressed with me was years ago she took a trip to Colorado, to Stanton State Park in Colorado, and they had this program going on there, and it allows people with mobility limitations to get in these chairs and essentially go off-road in the chairs. It's more rugged trails that a normal wheelchair would not be able to access. This allows those people the opportunity to get on those trails and see more of nature and that opportunity. We're excited to work with Paige, and I was going to have her out today as well, but unfortunately she was out of town, and I'm hoping that she'll be able to come into the October board meeting and she can present more on the program also. The chair itself is controlled by the occupant plus a volunteer that will walk beside the chair, and they will have the overall control of it. Just in case they need to override the person sitting down and the direction they're going to, they'll be able to control that. it's not much larger than your typical wheelchair as far as width. So as far as spacing taking up the trails, it shouldn't be any concern at all with that. Her first chair that she purchased out of pocket with her foundation is being delivered later this month. We are having our fall tunnel accessibility day on October 1st, and she's going to hopefully have the chair at that event to show off to the public and what this event and what this program will look like. What we are looking at is we will offer a time slot where people will be able to sign up with us in conjunction with us and the Blue Ridge Packs for Tracks program, and we'll give a one-time slot on like a Tuesday morning and a Sunday afternoon. Some of the lower visitation times to the tunnel trail, and that will give opportunities, and they will provide volunteers to meet the attendees up there and control the chairs themselves. So they will, as of right now, they'll be handling all the transportation of getting the chairs to the trail. What we know right now, this is the first of its kind in Virginia. So hopefully this takes off and can be a good representation of a DEI initiative here in Nelson County. We're really looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be a really big hit. One of the new things one of the new programs we are starting up, we've been working with Job a little bit, and we're going to start up a Wednesday, once a month, senior bingo activity over at the Nelson Center. So I believe it's the third Wednesday of each month we will be holding that, and it'll be at 1 o'clock on those Wednesdays. Java is excited to send their senior group over just down the hall in the building, and yeah, it'll be something new and fun in partnership with them to be able to offer. Some of our special events that we do have coming up this fall are obviously, like I said, our Blue Ridge Tunnel Accessibility Day. For those of you who don't know about this event, it's an event that we've had going on for the last I think 2 years. We've done it every spring and fall, and we offer golf cart guided rides through the Blue Ridge Tunnel, and they are driven by our Blue Ridge Tunnel Foundation members to offer a historical guidance through the tunnel. This is probably our most popular event that we do, and it allows those people with mobility limitations the opportunity to ride a golf cart and actually get up and see inside the tunnel and all the way through. The trip takes you from the eastern parking lot through to the western portal, turns you around, and comes back. It's about a 35-minute trip with the folks, and just last week we opened up registrations for our event this fall, and it was sold out in 26 minutes. The phones are very hot on those mornings of registration openings, and we do the best that we can to get everybody in, and yes, we're excited to be able to offer this program again. Another event that we have coming up this fall is our Tunnel After Dark event. This is a partnered event with Blue Mountain Brewery that we've done the last several years, and we're excited to bring that back this year. It's going to be October 25th, and tickets for that will go on sale on October 2nd at 10 a.m. This is a great community event we partner with Blue Mountain with. All proceeds do go to a local charity, sorry. And last year we were able to make a $1,000 donation to the Nelson Food Pantry. And we look to our numbers to come in right around that same number again this year for a local charity. And that's another one that will sell out very quickly. And typically with that, we get about 300 people up to the tunnel that evening. It's from 6 to 9. We have shuttles going from Rockfish Valley Fire Department, in addition to on-site parking at the eastern parking lots. Going into our parks and trails, the Blue Ridge Tunnel continues to see great numbers. I just got updated numbers, and what I put down here for our August numbers are actually greatly larger than that. And this morning I collected those numbers to get the full August numbers, and it was actually right around 8,000 people visited the tunnel in August. The Virginia Blue Ridge Railway Trail, it's still getting about 1,200 to 1,400 people. A little bit higher on on that range over the summer. So that's another great trail that sees a lot of continued visitation. The Blue Ridge Tunnel Trail was closed on August 13th. We did have to do some repairs from, it was a scheduled closure day that we had, and then with the tropical storm Debbie that came through, added some extra work to that day. So we had some routine maintenance in addition to some washout repairs that we had to get done. I want to thank the maintenance department, Billy Joe, for coming out and helping us that day and bringing some equipment up and assisting us in making all those repairs. And we were able to get the work done before the end of the day. So yes, the tunnel was only closed for about 7 or 8 hours that day. So we have, I don't care how many trail closure signs, notices we put out, we still have people come and walk right by them saying they didn't see the sign, and unfortunately we had to tell them to leave, or there were a couple folks right at the end of the day we were able to finally let through as they waited for us to finish the work. The Montreal Park, we had 2 rentals during August, and that's kind of what our average has been lately for that facility. And then maybe if you would scroll up just a little bit. One thing we are working on for the Blue Ridge, or for the Virginia Blue Ridge Railway Trail, we'll be putting milepost covers at the trail. This is what those are going to look like, minus where it says Visit Nelson County. We're taking that visit part off. The sign guy take one of Nelson or Maureen's Visit Nelson County logos for that. And yeah, we're taking that visit portion off, so we have the milepost of every quarter mile, and then Nelson County right there. This is something that Amherst has had for the last couple years, and yeah, we're getting that up to par and matching theirs, and it'll be a nice addition to the trail.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been-
You're welcome, Jesse.
I ride that trail quite regularly, and the carpenter bees have successfully destroyed it time and time again, and I'm glad we get to kind of match what they got going there.
Yeah.
Yeah. More of that, the better. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
several of the posts will be repaired, as you're aware of. Those Some of those posts are very deteriorated, and so yeah, some of the posts underneath the sleeves will be replaced as well.
Now that last bench at the very end,
Okay.
I made the horrible decision to sit down on it, and I got ate up by a bunch of bees.
Okay.
I handled that.
All right.
There was a beginning, a middle, and an end, and all that was within about 4 minutes because I already had my injury. But that's just something to be cognizant of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. I know ground nests are very.
I wasn't grounded. That was in the bench.
Oh, in the bench.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Like I said, it's done now.
All right.
But
We'll take a look at that, see if there
yeah.
are any of the others, and yeah, be aware of that.
Does that work, Clan?
As far as some of our department staffing things, next week, Jacob Floyd, our recreation specialist, him and I will be attending the annual Virginia Recreation and Park Society State Conference in Norfolk. Unfortunately, this year we did not have any big awards submitted, so we went 3 years in a row with award. Take a little break, but hopefully the track chair program will bring us an award back to Nelson County next year. That is about all I have to say. Any of y'all have any questions?
Thank you so much for, the breadth and the range and the diversity of all the programs you're offering, and the fact that the numbers keep going up. That's awesome. So
Thank you very much.
thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much
Yes.
for everything.
All right.
Okay, David, sorry.
I thought for some reason I was getting preferential.
No, this is the legislative report from TJPDC.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Appreciate the time on the agenda today. Just wanted to spend a few minutes giving a brief legislative update, and then talking a little bit about the upcoming General Assembly and legislative program for the region for that. So as far as the budget goes at the state level, of course, once again, it took a little while to get the state budget. That was finally approved in May. Close of the fiscal year, end of June, state revenues ran higher than had been estimated again, to about, I think it was about $1.2 billion, and early indications are that another revenue revision will be built in as we move forward budget amendments during this coming session. So I'm anticipating that the governor and the General Assembly will have some additional resources to work with as they start their appropriations process. State agencies are starting their budgeting process. They make their request and move them on up the ranks to the executive, in the executive branch. So by the time we get to latter part of December, I think it's December 18th this year, Governor Youngkin will propose his changes to the current biennial state budget. And then we'll get into the General Assembly session, and the legislators will have their shot at shaping the budget. From a legislative standpoint, I think there's a lot of work that's going on this session, or this interim. Study committees, other studies that are going on that I think will really feed into the discussions at the next General Assembly session. Last year, summertime, we had a big report from JLARC about K-12 education spending or funding and funding formula. And there's a joint study committee that's taking a look at those recommendations. In fact, they have their first meeting, I think, next week. JLARC is busy as usual. They are taking a look at data centers during the interim year, and also looking at the state's efforts over the past several years in deploying broadband. And I think both of those topics are going to be reported on in December by JLARC. You've got different legislators. There's a study commission, stakeholder groups that are taking a look at energy generation facilities. I say that because I think prominent among the discussions in a number of localities this year has been solar siting. We had a number of bills this past General Assembly session dealing with solar, a number of them that would have affected local governments. So I'm anticipating that we're going to have another crack at that issue as we head into the next session as well. Virginia Housing Commission taking a look at affordable housing issues that were brought before the General Assembly this past year that did not advance. So I would anticipate that we'll have additional discussion about that in the coming session. You have up on the screen, was included in your packet, the 2024 legislative priorities. This is just the top 3 regional priorities that we had going into this past session: public education, our longstanding budgets and funding position that speaks to local provision of services, for state programs, don't send us unfunded mandates, that kind of thing. And then land use and growth management, I think we were anticipating by elevating that back to being a priority that we would play a lot of defense this past session in the land use area, which proved to be true. So I don't know that I anticipate much change in that, but certainly part of the reason that I'm here today is to get feedback from you all as to not only the priorities for 2025 and any other positions that you might like to see included in the program that I will draft up and send back to you, and then come back to see you again in November to talk about. And certainly we will continue to include the position in support of loaded benefits for the private police departments, and Mr. Rutherford and I have had some conversation working with VACO and Delegate Campbell's office on that as we head towards the next session. But with that, I'd be glad to take your suggestions, comments, try to answer any questions you may have.
Jessica?
Thank you, sir. And of course, LOTA's, every interaction I've had has been, again, positive, but it remains to be seen how it's going to get treated once it gets there. So, but thank you for being a stalwart, and definitely extend our thanks to Baco's representative, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy's working on that.
Jeremy, for continuing to advocate and help us maneuver.
Thank you. Well, I certainly want to thank this board and you in particular for getting that ball rolling about a year ago, and you just rolled up your sleeves and did the work, in your community as well as with VACO and during the session. So thank you all for your support.
Yeah, David, thank you. All your priorities are things that we are, intensely interested in. So it's good that you're carrying the ball on those, and that we'll be hearing from you, and you'll be advocating, and then we'll do our best to get VACO on board as well when we get together in November.
Sounds great. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, David.
Have a good afternoon.
Okay, now, new and unfinished business. This is the proposed work order amendment for the zoning and subdivision ordinance update. Candy? Or is Dylan doing this?
Dylan's doing this particular update.
Okay.
Hello. So at your June meeting, the board approved a work order for zoning and subdivision ordinance updates to continue working with the Berkeley Group. At your kickoff session on August 28th with the board and the planning commission, there was interest in adding a second public engagement session. There was also interest in continuing to utilize the project website that we use through the comprehensive plan. Also throughout the ordinance update process, it would remain active for public comments throughout and host all the information and documents related to the process and the project. Part of our current scope of work includes a menu of optional services that we can add at any time. And the Berkeley Group needs authorization to proceed with those two items, and staff wanted to ensure consensus of the board on that. So this is a request for the additional public engagement session, which is $3,400, and the website hosting is $2,500 for a total of $5,900. So just looking for board authorization and comments, questions on that to add it to our scope of work.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I think it was decently discussed
Yeah.
at our previous meeting. so-
Yeah, I mean, we need to do it. I mean, and the intent of having two different hearings for those two different areas is good for both. So I'm good with it.
Okay.
Do we need to make is this action?
I think we need consensus on this.
Yeah, okay.
So, for the,
Do you want me to make a
for the work
motion?
order amendment, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the work order amendment for zoning and subdivision ordinance updates with, I guess, the Berkeley Group as presented.
I second.
Okay, we'll go for consensus. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay,
Thank
Dylan.
you. And just while I have you to clarify, we want to do one at Rockfish Valley Community Center and one at the Nelson Center or the Heritage Center.
I say Nelson Center, in my opinion. It's a little
Mhm.
bit more middle.
That's what I thought I wanted to correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and RVCC is good.
Perfect.
Okay.
And we're gonna look at the first few weeks in October for those.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Dylan. Okay, now we have a proposed work order amendment for the Department of Social Services Building Design Services.
Okay, good afternoon. Let's see, this item comes with a little bit of background I'd like to just share quickly. As the board is aware, the public may not be, at the August 13th regular meeting, following the closed session we held pursuant to State Code Section 2.23711A3 and A7, the Board of Supervisors did take the following action. You authorized me, the county administrator, to enter into a purchase agreement to acquire the land and improvements at 37 Tambark Plaza at a cost of $775,000. This is the old El Mariachi location at the middle intersection coming off 29 into Livingston. So this property is intended to be the new site for the Department of Social Services and does provide for a more cost-efficient option versus the initial Callow Hill Drive site. There's an estimated savings of approximately $1 million, primarily due to more favorable site development conditions. Additionally, this location for DSS keeps them within Livingston proper and adjacent to the local Community Services Board, which provides a higher level of convenience to citizens that utilize these services. It also serves to improve the middle gateway into Livingston from Route 29 and provides the opportunity for additional public parking that will improve walkability in Livingston. Settlement of the property purchase is predicated upon satisfaction of conditions precedent as specified in the executed purchase agreement, including title examination. So this investigative period is expected to take about 8 to 12 weeks. Staff recommended that this purchase be funded with some combination of bond anticipation note proceeds that will be in excess of the estimated cost for A&E services of approximately $559,591, and then also some existing unallocated capital fund reserves of about $419,730. The board also authorized me to execute a contract amendment number 6 with PMA Architecture that would modify the design services for the new project site at Tambark Plaza, excluding for the time being the proposed optional architectural design assessment of the Main Street corridor in the vicinity of the site for $38,500, and MEP design scope revised to include design for new fire sprinkler main for $5,000. This amendment reduced the total contract fee from $1,170,780 to about $1,101,480. So I'm here today to ask the board to reconsider putting in the $5,000 and including this for the MEP design scope revision, which would include the design for the new sprinkler main. The fire sprinkler main at the site already exists and is recommended to be used in the new building not only for safety and fire response reasons, but also for the ability to design a more functional interior that would not require fire-rated corridors and automatic door closures. The $5,000 cost increase is to cover the additional drawings and specifications for the bid documents that the mechanical engineer would have to prepare. And I believe we've also provided a memo from PMA and the county's building code official recommending reconsideration of this addition. It's a little bit time sensitive to reconsider authorizing this because the engineers are working on design drawings as we speak. So they need to know whether or not this can be included.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I mean, I'm fine with adding it back in. It was just more of a frustration.
Yeah.
The only reason we took it out is because that man nonchalantly said we didn't need it.
This is true.
Yes, he
regrets that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
may.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Jeremy did a great job laying out the reasons why
Yeah.
we should do it. He did a really fine job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm fine with adding back in, Mr. Chairman, when you're ready for a motion.
I'm ready.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we add in the $5,000 for, what's it called, MEP?
MEP design scope.
MEP
for
design scope.
Fire sprinkler main.
For the fire sprinkler main at the DSS building.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Could you repeat the motion just so we've got it clear? Is that
Mr.
something-
Chairman, I move that we amend this work order to include the $5,000 for the design of the fire sprinkler main to the
That
building.
works.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call vote.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Candy.
You're welcome.
Okay, report.
Yep.
You ready? Okay.
I'm ready, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, to start with, I'll reiterate what Mr. Brown said. We have a proposed date for the meeting on the Route 151 speed study results, and that's proposed for September 16th, which is Monday, from 3 to 4 p.m. It's to be confirmed, but I think we've pretty much settled on that date and time for that meeting. So as reported previously, the county issued an RFP for the 2026 reassessment. We received 3 proposals, and interviews were conducted with 2 of the respondents by a panel of myself, Kim Goff, Susan Rohr, and Amanda Spivey. The panel unanimously ranked Wampler Eanes Appraisal Group Limited as the top-ranked firm using a scoring matrix that prioritized firm qualifications and experience in similar projects using the ProVal system, which is the county's assessment software. Wampler Eanes Appraisal Group has extensive mass appraisal experience across Virginia and is highly qualified. They also conducted the county's 2014, 2018, and 2022 general reassessments and have extensive ProVal experience. Following negotiations, the county contracted with Wampler Eanes for a not-to-exceed amount of $409,500, with work beginning October 1st, 2024. The 2022 contract with Wampler Eanes was for a not-to-exceed amount of $305,000, Wamper Eames noted to me that their price increase from the last contract is related to salaries and wages of their personnel having significantly increased over the past 4 years as they attempt to keep and maintain their current staff. Inflationary costs of rent, lodging, vehicles, fuel, and other items that have impacted their costs for performing reassessments. And when they prepared our bid for 2022, this was done in August of 2020, 4 years ago, prior to the substantial rise in inflation that began in 2021. And also I'll just report the non-binding cost submittals of the other two proposers was $422,331 and then $788,000. And I believe I included in the packet recent contract pricing and for other localities throughout the state, which are comparable to these prices. We are working on the FY25 board retreat. This has been set for September 19th from 10 to 5 at a meeting space called The Lodge at 3 Notch Brewing Company. With the DSS building, our design meetings are resuming, with the next one being held on September 12th, 2024, which I believe is this Wednesday. A new report on the Region 2000 Solid Waste Authority. With 2029 being the expected year for the regional landfill to reach capacity, the Solid Waste Authority is preparing to submit a 60-acre expansion proposal to Campbell County for consideration, which would provide for solid waste disposal through 2053. This has been studied by the authority in Campbell County and has proven to be the most feasible option going forward. However, it does face opposition from Campbell County residents residing near the landfill. Should this expansion not move forward, Nelson will look at options to transfer solid waste to another landfill site within the region. We did receive some data from Virginia Career Works for their service in Nelson County. They report that since July 2024, 4 Nelson residents visited a one-stop center. 1 Nelson resident gained employment through Virginia Career Works programs or centers, and 1 Nelson resident enrolled in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is further described in an attachment. The Blue Ridge Health District, Centara, and UVA Health are beginning their 2024-2025 Map to Health Community Health Assessment. This is conducted every 3 years and aims to identify and address health needs that can advance health equity. The public is being asked to participate in both focus groups starting in October. Interested residents will need to complete a focus group interest form at the Blue Ridge Health District website, and participants in that will receive a $25 Food Line gift certificate. Secondly, community members are asked to participate in the community health survey that's been launched on the Blue Ridge Health District website and will be active through December 2024. I have attached the meals and lodging tax collection tracking, and I'm working with the Commissioner of Revenue and Tourism Department to try to get the data you all asked for last month regarding numbers of short-term rentals associated with that tax collection. So we are working to get that information for you.
Gotcha. Thank you. I was going to ask that.
Okay. Any questions for Candy? Okay. Thank you, Candy.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Board reports, Dr. Liggett?
Well, we have jail board this week, but nothing too exciting. Nothing since my last report, really. We're good. And we haven't had a meeting for workforce either.
Okay. Jesse?
We had the PDC meeting last week. We had discussions related. There's a lot of discussion about data centers coming to the Commonwealth and what that means related towards energy consumption. It's really interesting. Louisa's capitalized on a lot of that. If you take some time to interact with our local energy provider and their leadership about what that means for power usage, it means a lot. It's amazing how much, as we technologically advance, what that means, because what they do there impacts our electric rates in Nelson County. And that's extremely real. And that's something that we all need to be cognizant of. So just because, they're getting their proffers over there in whatever county those data centers are going for benefit schools, whatever that might be, or cash, the ripple effect of that is just astronomical. So there's probably going to be some interesting takes as time goes on what that means. Obviously, data centers are a necessary part to operate in a lot of stuff. However, there are a lot of pieces to that have overarching problems that need to be resolved. So, if you're part of the community, be thoughtful of it, learn about it. I think that's going to be a lot more of a conversation as time goes on. If technology advances don't figure out how to resolve that energy consumption. Beyond that, we had a little bit of topic on affordable housing. We noted, it's still ongoing. Inflation was no friend and continues to be no friend, and under inventory still continues to impact the overall market of the region. That's not changing. Knowing that there are a lot, you have the jobs coming in the Waynesboro area. I believe, I can't remember what the number is off the top of my head, it's like 100. These are all very well-paid individuals, so their ability to absorb anything is pretty easy. So that's indications on the market. Beyond that, water and sewer continues to be a major topic of infrastructure and future needs of our region. A lot of counties have partnered up, sorry, I've got to turn my mic on, partnered up with neighboring counties to try to resolve their water needs. So that's kind of an interesting perspective, seeing cross-county lines of water, what that means for infrastructure needs, as well as just capacity and usage over the next 10, 20 years. So that was kind of, beyond that, I don't think I have much to report. I think that's it.
Okay. The results of the last Planning Commission meeting we'll be seeing at 7 o'clock tonight. So both the items in front of us were passed by the Planning Commission, and we'll have public hearings on them at 7 o'clock. Appointments. We have one today.
Yes, we do. So, Social Services Board, we finally have received an application from the Central District. We have an application from Stacy Rush. She looks very well qualified. I believe recently retired, and I think she'll bring a lot of experience if you all are interested in appointing her.
Mr. Reed, this is in your district. Is this a motion you would like for me to make?
I would be pleased if you do.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Nelson County Social Services Board for the Central District, Stacy Rush.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Reed, at some point I want to talk about the supervisor spot on the Planning Commission. Would you like to do that directives, or would you like to talk about it now?
Floor is yours.
Sounds good. With the transition from the comp plan to the zoning, it's been a discussion amongst Planning Commission members as well as a couple of members of this board, including myself. We were wondering, you've been on there for 2.5, going on 3 years. I think with this new transition, it probably would be good because that person needs to ride the whole train, more than likely, of the zoning. Would you be open to switcherooing in the interim so that that person can ride the zoning to the end?
Chairman Parr brought this up with me a few days ago, and I gave it a little bit of thought, and I was appointed for the entire year, and I would not really want to shirk my responsibility to follow through on that. And also, if either one of you would like to, be attend those planning commission meetings, there isn't an opportunity for dialogue, which you could certainly have all the benefits of interacting with the people on the planning commission if you have need to in the interim. There shouldn't be any significant ordinance votes that won't come before the Board of Supervisors anyway. I would, having planned to see that out, I'd like to continue my position.
And I recall when we had a discussion as related to why we left you on was to finish the comp plan, and resolving, and that was with good intent because you had ridden that the entire time. I believe for the constituents as well as what's going on, this would be a good time to pass that baton, if that makes sense. And this is not a hostile thing. Some of the planning commissioners have echoed that, as well as a couple of us board members. Are you okay? And Jessica has mentioned to me that she'd be okay with riding that to the end. Is that still true, Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really not interested in abdicating my role.
I understand.
So, I appreciate your thoughtfulness in this.
Yeah.
But I enjoy my role on the board, and I think I provide a really important piece of it.
Yeah.
And at the time I was appointed to be on the board, I did offer it up to anybody else that might be interested in taking it, and I was able to stay on. So I'm happy to do that.
I'm going to try and say this as eloquently as I can. The concern is we want it to be a productive, respectful process through the zoning, redoing the zoning thing. There has been rumbles on the Planning Commission board that if we do not make a change, there will be a huge change on the Planning Commission board. And we felt that our change would be less of a jolt to the process than several members on the Planning Commission board stepping down. So I'm putting that out there.
Well, the first I heard of this was from Mr. Parr 2 days ago. No one on the Planning Commission has approached me with such a, either an idea or a rationale behind doing it. So, which would seem to be the appropriate venue. I would be much more appropriate for me to, step down. If I were to, it would, I think, something that I would like to hear from the Planning Commission on.
I can understand.
'Cause I have really no reason why. And none has come forth, really, with the exception of what you just read.
I know, yeah, and it was approached to me, and that's why I told Mr. Parr to communicate with you at that time, because it was very appropriate. And, I don't want to make a motion to replace you
I appreciate that.
but I'm getting there, and I'm willing to make a motion for the sake of not having that major disruption. And that's all I'm saying.
I don't see any possible major disruption or fear of one.
If we lose 2 planning commissioners the next day, that would be pretty major. We'd be bringing people-
I would like them to speak for themselves.
Well, they don't get to vote on this board.
They certainly could speak to me.
And I'm not going to disagree.
I mean,
with
if
that.
they
Yeah.
disagree with something that I'm doing or don't like my approach to something, I would appreciate to hear from them.
I understand that. I'm
You
not.
know, I don't think, for you to, give them cover without them having to address things directly, doesn't seem right.
Well, they did address it with myself. I know they've addressed it with Jessica and Mr. Parr.
I'm very available.
Well, I'm not saying that why they didn't call you.
I don't know either.
We're those individuals' representatives also. So, Ernie, it would be good if we could do that. If you could make this switcheroo, otherwise I'm gonna make a motion.
You have the floor.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we, Jessica, do you have any other discussion?
Nope.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we make for the completion of the remainder of this year until we do a vote in January for the reappointments, that we allow Jessica Ligon to fill that role starting September, for the September meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'd certainly like to speak to this.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
Okay.
It's your debate.
I'm appalled, absolutely, to be asked to step down from a board that I've served for 2.5 years, served well, I believe, and have never received a lick of criticism from any of my colleagues, nor from any of my constituents, nor from my colleagues on this board until this day. I see no reason for it. I see no cause. I see, I've had no discussion with anybody about this, truly beyond what you have said today, and it seems like no grounds for dismissal. And I don't think it speaks well to the county, to the two members of the Planning Commission who I have no idea who might be, or to my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors who appointed me to this position. So we have a motion and a second. We should have a roll call vote.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Ligon?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Directives? Mr. Rutherford?
I do not have any at this time.
I had a discussion with George Miller at the Service Authority, and Candy, you probably can maybe answer some questions here or clarify or something. I think Jennifer has heard from some people in the county where they have had trucks from the county that have been serving people, and they assumed that incorrectly that they were Service Authority trucks. And I think the question is, are all of our county vehicles that are used for county purposes signed as county vehicles? I mean, this is something that I really don't have any direct experience with, so I can't speak to it, but I'm just wondering if is that like a county policy, or is that something that we have in place?
Most of them are. We do have a few newer maintenance vehicles I don't believe have county identifying decals or striping or anything on those just yet.
Okay.
Those are the only ones that are coming to mind. The Service Authority logo and the county's, the county.
They're certainly similar.
Different now, but they are
Right.
similar.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was some, so I assume it's in process that you're going to get the Nelson County logos on those vehicles.
Yes.
Okay, because like having like a magnetic sign or something you could slap on one, would help clarify to the people, to the residents who's doing the work and who's there, and maybe answer some questions before they start getting phone calls. So.
Sure.
Okay. Would you like me to communicate that with Mr. Miller?
Sure, that's fine, but do you happen to know what services are being provided that they would question whether or not it's a service?
I don't.
authority or-
Jennifer might be, maybe just a phone call to her would help clarify
Okay,
and get that straightened out.
okay, sure.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Okay. Do we have any other business for today? Did I get it all? If not, we'd like to motion for closed session. Would someone like
This is
to?
the third. Okay. Yes, I got it. And bathroom break after we read it.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Nelson County Board of Supervisors convene in closed session to discuss the following as permitted by Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711 A1 discussion, consideration or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. Personnel.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Liddy?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Okay, we're going to take a brief break.